Hey everyone! In the recent patch, Syndra got some pretty big buffs, so she might be coming back into the meta pretty soon. Before that happens, we want to give you a jump start on the free elo train with a guide on how to play her and the small things you might not know since she has a lot of cool stuff you can do. So let's get started by briefly going over her abilities, and then some combos, and if you want runes and builds, stick around to the end. Before we go further, I want to let you know we make way more guides over at Skill Cap, where we have a huge team of dedicated content creators who produce more than 10 guides every week. That's an insane amount of premium guides and is why our subscribers climb the fastest. Check us out at skillcap.com. Syndra's Q is her bread and butter, which puts a sphere on the ground while also doing damage. This is the ability you want to max first, as it does bonus damage at max rank from her passive. Her passive gives each ability, except her ultimate, something different when you max it out. Syndra's W picks up a minion or monster and throws it doing decent damage, but the important part of this ability is that it slows, so it's used to set up easy Qs or stuns. When maxed, it does bonus true damage. Syndra's E is her main CC and defensive ability. She pushes everything she hits away from her, including the spheres she puts down with her Q. The spheres travel much further, stun, and do damage when they hit something. This is the ability you want to max second. Finally, Syndra's ultimate is a single target nuke that does more damage if you have more spheres out. We'll talk about how to get the most out of this later. Alright, let's take a look at some combos. The most basic thing with Syndra is landing her Q. Her Q is her main form of poke early on, and the biggest mistake lower elo players make when trying to land it is just randomly walking up and using it. You want to look to use Q every time the enemy walks up for a last hit. If you just try to randomly use them and miss too many, you'll run out of mana. By using smart Qs, you can easily poke the enemy laner into kill range quickly. Also, it's important to note you can use Q while moving, so you can be walking away or to the side while using it, which catches enemies off guard. A basic combo to land your Q is by starting with W, as the hitbox is bigger and harder to dodge. So you start with W to slow, then Q, and can stun afterwards as well. If you're running Electrocute, throw in an auto attack as well to proc it, and you have a nice and fast trading combo. Once you get good at landing poke with Q and W, you need to look for a kill combo. Of course, the best way to do this is using your stun, but a lot of players make the mistake of trying to walk up, use Q and E together to land the stun. This is very unreliable, and if you miss, you're open to being punished. A safer, more unpredictable way to hit Syndra's stun is by using a Q on the wave first, like this, then line up the ball with them and use E. A lot of players won't pay attention to the ball on the ground and will be caught off guard with how far it actually travels. Then, you can follow up with a W and Q for a combo that is nearly unpunishable. Landing two of these back to back like this will almost always put them into kill range for your ultimate. Speaking of Syndra's ultimate, let's talk about how the damage works and how to get the most out of it. Syndra's ultimate gets more damage with each Q that you use. The most common way of using her ult is the way you just saw. I put one Q down, knocked it into Ahri, picked it up, put another Q down, giving a 2-ball ultimate. If you want to get a 3-ball ultimate, you have to use W to reset the timer on the balls that are on the ground. So each ball lasts 6 seconds. If you pick up a ball that is about to disappear with W, it will stay, so you use 2 Qs, pick up the first Q with W, then one more Q before using the ult. Alright, now let's talk about something extremely important when it comes to Syndra's ult. At the end of it, it drops a bunch of spheres on the ground. These can be used with her E to land nearly guaranteed stuns or big stuns in teamfights. To show you what I mean, take a look at this clip. I'm looking to kill the Shyvana at her red, but I know she's going to jump over the wall with her ult. So I'm going to ult her first, then as she flies over, look at the spheres from my ult. They follow her over the wall, so I use E afterwards, getting the kill. This way of using your ultimate and E together is really important against champions with mobility like Ahri, LeBlanc, or Kassadin. As they jump away, the spheres will follow and then you can follow up with your stun. It can also be used to finish off kills on squishy champions so you don't need to rely on skill shots, especially when they are trying to dodge. When I'm going for the kill on this Pantheon, instead of trying to use Q into E then ult, I just start with Q and R, then once the spheres fall from the ult, I finish him with E. It's nearly impossible to dodge, and since we're maxing E second, it does a ton of damage. Next, we have a small tip with our W. You don't have to put your mouse on a sphere to pick it up. You can just use W anywhere and it'll pick up the nearest one. So in this clip, I put my Q down, but I'm getting chased, and they're not lined up with it so I can't stun them. So I use W to pick up the sphere that's already there, then throw it and use the stun to stun the Ahri and Thresh. Setting up stun with W is important when the enemy champions are getting really close. because Q has a delay when you cast it. This is especially important when they're in melee range, because if you try to Q and E fast, you'll use E before the Q appears, and it won't stun them, it'll only push them back. But if you pick up a sphere first, like this, it won't miss. Alright, we went over the main combos here. Now let's talk about runes and build path. The main rune page you want to be using is this. Taste of Blood is great for trading, but you can choose between Ravenous Hunter, Relentless Hunter, and Ultimate Hunter. Ravenous Hunter works really well though with Syndra's ult, since it's single target, you get a lot of healing from it. A second page you can try out and see if you like is this one. The playstyle behind this page is a little different. Syndra's main gank escape is her stun, and with Electrocute, that's the main way to proc it. With Airy, you rely on Q and W poke and can hold your stun in case you get ganked, or when you're trying to go for a kill. You should try both of these pages and see what you like more, as both work. For build path, you want to start Doran's Ring, and your first core item will be Luden's Echo. You want to avoid going tier because Syndra's early to mid game is really strong, but with tier, you'll be really weak until you finish it. Then you want to go into a defensive item depending on the matchup, either Banshees or Hourglass. The reason behind this is that you get your last 10% CDR here to get 40%, which is really strong on Syndra. After that, you can go into Morellos if they don't have MR, and you need healing reduction, or Death Cap if they don't have healing. But if they're stacking MR, go into a Void Staff third. Alright guys, you should be all set to jump into some games with Syndra. Remember, Syndra is not a champion that you'll be amazing at right away, as she's on the more difficult side. But after a few games, you should really start to feel her strength. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.